Hey, family. This is Che Willis coming back with another episode of Wealth is a Journey podcast. Guys, this is episode 141. 141 weeks of consistency, 141 weeks of getting it done. As always, we outside. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much to all the people who have dropped a comment, liked, shared, subscribed to the podcast. We definitely appreciate it because it's helping us get the word out of financial freedom and getting out the word that you can do it too. And so I'm just super excited about what's going on. I just completed a presentation this week and it was phenomenal, man. I got a lot of good feedback. And from a wealth building perspective, I'm talking about things that are different than what the norm is. And talking about, building credit just to borrow money and then try to build your empire that way. We're talking about building wealth from a different perspective. And even though building wealth from a borrowing money standpoint is good and it's a good start, but I also think that there are other ways to build wealth. Like my grandma used to always say, there's always more than one way to skin a cat. And so I'm teaching from that standpoint because it's worked for me and my family. And I'm just trying to show other people that it can work for you too, and make you less stressed out. So if you want more information on that, please go to my website, Wealth is a Journey. And there's a lot of different free information on there to help you on your wealth building journey or to get you at least started. So I just wanted to make sure I said that. Now, if you are a first time listener, watcher, or subscriber, thank you so much for joining us. On this podcast, we talk about faith, family, and finances, among other things. If you are a return listener, watcher, or subscriber, thank you so much for joining us again. Hopefully, we are adding value to your lives on the way to the M's because we are 1000% on the way to the M's. And you may say, Che Willis, what are the M's? We're talking about millions. And how are we going to get there? The way we're going to get there is we're going to reduce our expenses and we are going to buy assets with the money. And if you continue to buy assets, your net worth will grow. Your return on investments will continue to grow because you're going to be paying attention to what you're investing in. And that is exactly how we are getting to the M's. So I was looking at a few different videos that I did back in about a year and a half ago. And it's good to look back to from where you came from, from a progression standpoint and also just memory boosters to like, oh, I was here at one time. And I was looking back at some of the videos that I made and I was reminded of something that I said, and I say it pretty often, but it's good to get those reminders. So anyway, I was looking at a video and it was saying how I went to Las Vegas and I was on a golf trip in Las Vegas, maybe about a year ago. And first of all, I had a blast out there. But the more important thing than golfing, which I love to do, is I saw so much abundance, so much opulence out there, and it let me know that I was thinking small. And like, you see abundance, you see opulence, and when you see these things, I mean, these things are achieved and attained by people who are thinking maybe on another level than you are. And it's not out of a jealousy or hate or anything like that, but I like to see people who are doing way better than I am because it lets me know that there's another level for me to get to. Even when I walk past, like I've flown first class a few times before, but even from that standpoint, walking past those people to say, hey, there is another level for me to get to when I'm walking past those people to go back to my seat, if that makes sense. So so I was thinking about that, but more so in the video, I was talking about flying private. And that is one of the things that I am going to do at some point soon. And I would love to do. And so I was thinking about that and it just reminded me of what I wanted. So What happened to me is I was at my job and I was going to go visit a customer. So I went to go visit the customer. We're chopping it up, we're talking. And what happened is if this customer in particular is the general manager of a an FBO. So this is basically where the planes fly in and they fuel the planes and then they clean the planes and then the planes take back off, or they house the planes in their hangars or whatever. So I went to go visit him. We're talking, and 30 minutes in, then he's like, "Hey, well, let's go outside real quick. There's a plane that just landed." So I'm like, "All right." So we go look at the plane. I'm like, "Yo, this plane is crazy." He's telling me how much the plane costs. He goes on the plane to go talk to the pilot, and I'm standing there, just waiting for him to come back. And then he's like, "Yo, come on up." I said, "Okay, I see what's going on here." So I get up and go on the plane, and I'm standing there and I'm like, I'm in awe because I need to, as a person who wants to fly private at some point, I need to be able to get used to the feeling of walking up on the tarmac, up the steps, getting on the plane, and then just looking around and then being able to sit down and wait to take off. So he asked me, he's like, "Yo, do you want to take a picture?" I'm like, "Absolutely." And some people will say, "Well, why would you want to take a picture of a plane that you're not flying on? Why would you take a picture in a plane that you don't own?" It's because I need constant reminders of what I said I was going to do and what I said I was going to experience. So if you are of that mindset to say, "Hey, well, why are you taking a picture of a in front of a car that's not yours, or taking a picture on a plane that's not yours, or you're not flying out anywhere?" Then I'm going to tell you to go ahead and do it anyway, because we need those reminders of what we said that we wanted and what we said that we were going to do, because it lets us know also that we still have more work that needs to be done in order for us to accomplish our goal. So I sat down, I took pictures, I got comfortable, and it just let me know that I was closer than what I thought, because that was my first time on a private plane before. I've never been on one before. So then I take the pictures, I put them on social media, and then my man calls me up later on, Marcus Vick. It's my guy. He calls me up, frat brother. He calls me up and he's like, "Look, man," he's like, "Yo, man, you out there doing?" I'm like, "Yo, fam, just to let you know, I was fronting. I did not fly out anywhere. I just took the pictures on the plane." And he was like, "Nah, but you're doing it because a lot of the things that you said that you were going to do, you're doing. And you're living out loud, basically, in front of everybody. You paid your house off. You got a beautiful family. You're doing all these nice different things, and you need those conversations with friends, because, like me, I'm go 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 go, and a lot of times I don't think about the things that I've accomplished and that God has blessed me with all the time. So when people, remind you, it kind of forces you to slow down to think about all the things that you've accomplished. And so I really appreciated that conversation. One, he was calling to check on me, and then two, he also dropped a gem on me of a book. It's called what's the name of that book? The Game of Life and How to Play It, by Florence Scovel Shinn. And in the book, that's what basically he was telling me about. He was like, "Yo, all the things that you're talking about are basically the things that are going on in this book." What's going on, family? My name is Che Willis, the medicine to your financial headache, and I help families living paycheck to paycheck live the life that they want to live through financial planning and wealth management. Did you know that the number one cause for divorce is money fights and money problems? If you are struggling financially with your spouse, you have come to the right place. We have an online course, we have a community, and we have one-on-one coaching that can help you live your best financial life and cut down on a lot of the money fights that you and your spouse are currently having. So if you are struggling, Please make sure that you go to wealthisajourney.com to fix the issues that you guys are having currently surrounding money. A lot of us were never taught, and that's okay. But if you know that you need help, do not stay stuck. It's time to start living your best financial life with your spouse starting today. So go to wealthisajourney.com so you can start living your best financial life starting today. Let's go. Like you're saying it, what you're going to do, and then you actually do it, and then it happens for you. And he was like, yo, you got to read this book or at least listen to it. So I listened to the book in a day and a half, and the book is phenomenal, especially if you are a believer, you're a Christian, because there's a lot of principles and laws in there that would help the believer to accomplish a lot of the things and be a better witness at the same time too. Because when good things happen for believers, then it lets non-believers know that God is real, and if He did it for that person, that makes it more attractive for a non-believer to go to a believer and say, well, how are you doing all the things that you're doing? And you can let that person know it's through God's grace, and this is what, this is how the things happen. So anyway, I'm listening to the thing, and specifically they were talking about a lot of different laws, but specifically they were talking about sowing and reaping in the book. And if you don't know, in layman's terms, like sowing and reaping is basically like, think about a farmer. You sow a seed into the ground, you water the seed, and then eventually over time, a harvest will grow. And I don't want you to miss that we're still talking about wealth building, because it's that all this applies. My pastor talks about saying it is sowing it, right? So when we're talking about sowing and reaping, it also applies to your words. So my question to you is, where do you see yourself in life? And are your words that you're sowing match up with where you say you want to go? Because we have family members, friends, even ourselves sometimes, even though we say and we think that we want abundance, we think that we want we don't want lack. A lot of times we're sowing lack into our lives, because I believe that if you say it, like my pastor said, you say it, you sow it, and if you do that, then whatever you're saying, that's what you have the expectation for. So what does that mean? You may have a situation where you say, okay, well, every time something good happens, then something bad happens. Or you may say, every time I take 2 steps forward, I take 4 steps back. Now, that might not be the case, but you may be in a negative mindset where if you say that, then every time something good happens to you or for you, then you're always looking around the corner for something bad to happen, because you have the expectation for. And 9 times out of 10, whatever you're looking for, you will find it. So why are we talking about this? Because if we are on our wealth building journey, then all of our conversations need to be sowing positivity, sowing abundance, not sowing lack. Sowing when I pay this bill off, hey, I'm looking for the next bill to pay off so that I can reduce my expenses. So then once all my expenses are reduced, now I can invest at a rapid pace and a high clip. Not, oh, every time I pay a bill, another one just pops up. No. So when we're on our journey, we have to watch our words. And so if we can do that, that I believe is one of the first steps to get you to where you want to go. Because about a month ago or so ago, I talked about believe, plan, execute. And I believe also that if you do not believe that you can do a certain thing, then you will never do the thing. So why are we talking about this? because I think it's vitally important to make sure that your words match up with where you say you want to go. Because you can be talking out of both sides of your mouth. You could be saying that you want wealth, but when bad things happen, you can say, "Oh, I knew that that was going to happen." And because you said that, then you're always looking for negativity. You're always looking for the bad thing. You're always looking for the other shoe to drop. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like sometimes I catch myself too, and that's why I always have to constantly remind myself, even somebody who doesn't have debt or somebody who is on their wealth building journey, maybe further than others, that good things always happen for me, even though bad things happen. They happen is what I was going to say. I was going to say bad things happen all the time, but that's not the case. Bad things happen, and I have to constantly remind myself that good things always happen for me. And I'm sowing that into my life. So therefore, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I have the expectation for. And I'm saying that so you can hopefully adopt the same principles. So once we have that taken care of and we're actually starting to see results, just let's just say you're in credit card debt and you're trying to pay your credit cards off. You can say, my bills are always paid in full and I always have more. I always have surplus. Now, once you get the surplus, it's not the time to go blow it somewhere else when you can be paying down more debt so you can have more money to do the things that you want to do. So once you get the surplus, now it's time to sow more. You sow into your debt so then you can eliminate it. And then once you eliminate your debt, and let's just say you have $1,000 in consumer debts that you were looking to pay off. And then once you pay the things off, now what? Now it's time to change our conversation. Now it's I'm always looking for ways to build wealth. And we have to continue to say those different things to ourselves because if we do, that's what we're looking for. So now when we have the extra $1,000, how can I now build wealth with this money? You can invest it. You can invest in a business. There's a lot of different things that you can do, but that needs to be the talk track. Not I always have bills, because if that's what you say, that's what you're going to have. So listening to this book was a game changer for me because it reminded me of a lot of the things that I was saying just growing up. Anytime I had a plan, I would always talk about it to anybody who would listen. So if you look back over this podcast, I would talk about until we paid it off. I would talk about the house being paid off constantly. And then 2 years ago, we ended up paying the house off. And now we're in like wealth building mode now. Let's think about it. Let's just say, I don't know what your mortgage is, but let's just say it's 1,500. Let's just say it's $3,000, $2,500. What exactly could you do from a wealth building perspective, investing $2,500 a month into a vehicle that's going to bring you a return? So if you think about that and you say it, then you can have exactly what you say. But we got to make sure our we're sowing the right seeds to reap the right harvest. So if we're sowing seeds out of our mouths, then now we can then sow seeds monetarily, from a material standpoint, to actually build the wealth that we actually want. And you may not have all of the answers of how you're going to do the things, because as I was coming up, when I was saying, hey, I'm going to buy a car at 16 when I was 14, that gave me the belief that I could have more. I bought a little $500 car. That car served me well. That car served me up until I was 16 years old when I bought it. I started saving when I was 14, bought the car when I was 16, sold it when I was 21. My next goal then was to buy a house by the time I was 23. I would talk about that constantly. I'm gonna buy a house at 23. Did I know how I was going to do it? Absolutely not. But at the very least, I knew from when I was 16 or when I was 14 to save up money to when I was 16 to then buy the car. Then at the very least, I know I need to save money. So that's what I did. When we got married, hey, we want investment property. So we did the things, we said the things to buy the investment property. And then it was just a progressive thing that we would talk. We would believe, we would talk. We would believe, and we would talk. And then we wouldn't speak negativity if something bad happened to the thing that we were expecting. Bought the pool. Same thing. We want a pool. Okay, now we got to start saving, believing, speaking. Save, believe, speak, and then we got the pool faster than I thought that we were actually going to get it. The next thing was the house. The next thing was a car. So like we're you being able to do these types of things is a huge faith booster for you, your family, and anybody who's watching the show. Meaning whoever's watching, you do the thing that you said was going to come to pass. So we're saying all this to say to when you're on your journey, whatever journey that is, we're talking about wealth building specifically, but we're saying that because your words are way more important than you think. And if you do not believe me, read the Bible. If you don't believe me, listen to that book, read the book that I was just talking about. Um, and you will see how important your words are. Then it will make you reflect on either yourself or a family member who you saw that was negative. And they're negative a lot of times because they're constantly sowing negativity. So therefore that's what they're reaping. And they're miserable. Or somebody who may not be financially stable. Why are they not financially stable? There's a myriad of different reasons of why they may not be financially stable, but if you're not managing your money, then your finances are not going to be stable. But what are you sowing? What are you saying? So I'm not here to condemn you or anything like that, but I'm just here. A lot of these conversations that we have on this podcast are more so for you to think to yourself, how did I end up here and what am I going to do about it now? And now that I have the information, what am I going to do about it? So if you're not in the best financial situation, check your words and not just check your words. Now check your actions to make sure that either they're lining up with your words positively or they're lining up with your words negatively. Because if you're speaking negativity over your life, then your actions will probably follow with negativity. Or if you're speaking positivity over your life, then 9 times out of 10 positivity is going to follow with the actions. So I thought that that was a super dope conversation. I just want to give my boy a shout out, Marcus Vick, and for hitting me up and not just pouring into me, pouring those words into me, but then also recommending that book, because recommending that book was a game changer for me. I'm here to tell you that you can have whatever you say, and if you think that paying your house off is too big of a goal, if you think flying private is too big of a goal, I would encourage you to start small then, because maybe your faith is not there, and that's okay. My faith was not always where it is now, but it started with the car, and then the next thing was the house, and then the next thing was the rental property, and then it was the another car, and then more rental property, and then paying the house off. So it's levels to living life. There's levels to faith, and I would say wherever your faith is, start where you are. And if you need to start small, because I believe that a lot of us, myself included, at times live way below where we should be. And so we need to start living on another level. And I believe it starts with, what are you sowing? What are you saying? So that's the episode. hopefully that was helpful for y'all, man, because like having that conversation with my man, thinking back over my life, and then listening to that book was a game changer and a constant reminder to me of what I need to improve on, because we're not resting where we are. There's another level that we need to get to, all of us, not just me. So thank you for tuning in. Wealth is a journey. We will see you next week. Peace.